it is Tuesday, May 17th. I have 7:05, and this is the opening of the Berlin Board of Health meeting. And the first thing on the agenda is to talk about some regulation changes that this board has actually, I won't say we've been working on it continuously, but this is a process that started almost 5 or 6 years ago. And then we got hit with COVID, and it was a situation that we felt was best suited for a public hearing and not a Zoom hearing. And from the looks of the audience, I think I'm proven wrong.
Yep, you're gonna lose future fights.
Yep. So, that being said,
Are there any public comments?
yeah, we'll open it up. Does anybody that has the information relative to the suggested changes have any questions or comments, or are we going to have to go through everything kind of line by line? And that will be painful, but we will do it.
I'm okay with everything we've talked about for a long time.
I think we need to address the categories and refer to the location in the regs where changes are being made. And Donna, you have a copy of, okay, so you'll be able to put together appropriate minutes.
Sure.
That's all I need to see. Just that one thumbs up. I'm good.
I got your back, Donna.
Awesome. It's a team effort.
All right, we'll start with general requirements, construction and fill. We're talking about removing a paragraph on page 5, which I will not read the whole paragraph, but I will begin it, so if anybody's following along. Any system constructed in fill must meet the requirements outlined in Title 5, parentheses 310 CMR 15.255. And as that paragraph continues, and we are replacing it with something that says any system constructed in fill must meet the requirements outlined in Title 5, 310 CMR 15.255. When the plan proposes to fill a low wetland area or alter land within 100 feet of a vegetated wetland, the Berlin Conservation Commission shall be consulted regarding compliance with the Wetlands Protection Act. If fill is proposed in the plan, the percolation test first must be performed in the natural terrain. Any material used for the fill must pass the sieve test required outlined in Title 5, 310 CMR 15.255. So, just a quick summary, we're making sure that the Conservation Commission has a say in this change. We're just making it a little bit more workable. Let me stop for a minute. Most of the changes or all of the changes we are advocating here are ones that have come before us frequently and are often varied for a variety of reasons. It's kind of a rollback of items where, you know, a hammer was put down heavy at one point, and with the evolution of science and soil testing and so forth, the need for some of that heavy-handed regulation is really no longer needed. So we're just trying to facilitate. We're not opening up the developable land per se, but we're trying to facilitate the whole process of someone getting a permit to either upgrade a septic system or, in the case of new construction, be able to move forward in sane and reasonable fashion without having to jump through unnecessary hoops. P, use of Title V, remove the following paragraph. In situations where 1978 Environmental Code Title V applies, the Berlin regulations in effect prior to March 31st, 1995 must be met. And that's being updated to depth of groundwater is to be determined at the wettest time of year. Not being
No, that's
updated.
just-
This is being removed.
Correct.
Depth to groundwater is to be determined at the wettest time of year or by soil strata as approved by the board, blah, blah, blah. We're replacing it with deep test holes. Depth to groundwater is to be determined by soil strata. Determination shall be done by a DEP-approved soil evaluator. A total of four holes, 2 in primary leaching area and 2 in reserve area, each being a minimum of 10 feet deep, must be dug as outlined in Title V, CMR 15.102. The board or its agents may require further holes after viewing the lot. So we have the opportunity to explore further if there are questionable soil situations. Okay, distances. We're changing, I'm not gonna go through this whole chart. I mean,
No, we're gonna remove that chart.
we're gonna remove the chart that exists and replace it with a simpler chart with some amended distances.
Very minimum too. Sounds good.
Septic tanks can now be placed within, or will be allowed to be placed within 10 feet of foundations and foundation drains. Leaching facilities, 20 feet. Property lines are 20 and 25. All open or surface drains and aqueducts except foundation drains. Distances are 50 for septic, 50 for leaching. Water courses, streams, ponds, swamps, etc., 50 feet from septic, 100 from leaching. Adjoining walls of the primary and reserve area, just 10 feet for the leaching facility. And horizontal offset from ledge is 10 feet for the septic tank and 25 for leaching. I believe septic tank was 25 previously.
Correct.
And that's, 25 was really kind of an arbitrary number. A tank is a sealed vessel, sealed component, and we see no reason why 10 feet is not serviceable and more than adequate. Sewer line length at one point was limited to 100 feet, and we're replacing it with
400 feet.
400 feet, gravity feed or force main from the building outlet to the sewage disposal facility. Deep hole tests along the path of the sewer line may be required by the board. Sewer line length in this town has been, unless it's a repair or replacement system, new construction, we often see well in excess of 100 feet, and there's no history of issues. Depending on situations, cleanouts can be required, and in some cases, they're not desirable. I believe that's with pressurized systems. Let's see, depth to maximum groundwater. This is something of a major change. It will be for some people. We're going to remove the following paragraph, which requires 5 feet below the bottom of groundwater, and we're going to replace it with 4 feet.
Which is Title V, correct, Paul?
Basically, these changes are, they are certainly in line with Title V, do not in any way minimize Title V or break through Title V is a threshold. And well regulations, I'd like to just refer you to that page. There are, let's see.
Your throat must be getting dry.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, minimum, let's see, let's try and point out a couple things. Leaching facilities and soils with percolation rates of 2 minutes, 150 feet. We're kind of eliminating that one. Septic tank, we're going from, maybe I start to need
No,
glasses.
septic
50
tank.
feet,
Same.
Same.
stays the same.
Leach-
Sewer line stays the same. Property line stays the same. Public-private way stays the same. Active or closed landfill stays the same. Hazardous waste spill site stays the same, as does any type of surface water. And I believe that is it. I will open the discussion to our raucous crowd here.
Does anybody have any questions?
I am really somewhat amazed at attendance,
Right.
and I'm okay with that, I'm just a little amazed. But the board, in sort of a summary, the board feels that these changes are just bringing our regs more up to 21st century. Title V has been in existence a long time. It's been tested and tried for several decades. There's clear history on what's been working and what hasn't. We've checked with one or two of the local communities that have pared their regulations down to near Title V, and there have been no outbreaks of development going on in these communities, no uptick of any noticeable amount. So we feel we're getting rid of things that require submittance to send out registered letters and go through all those previous protocols, which all involve a time sink. And in some cases, and someone here can kind of appreciate that, you know, you get an agreement with the bank, there are certain things in place for a certain date, and all of a sudden you've got to jump through some hoops. And what we're saying is some of the hoops, history has shown us that they are no longer necessary. So we're trying to clean up the whole process and make life easier for people who are buying existing houses. Not necessarily making it easier for people building new houses, because the regs are still pretty solidly intact there. There are just some tweaks like soil line length that really have no effect. And also makes the board's life a little easier in terms of paperwork and unnecessary shuffling of paper. I open the floor and the board to any comments.
Gee, with that overwhelming response, I would like to make a motion. Yes,
Bill.
Bill?
Billy?
Would this comment period be the time if we need to revise something before we?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I just noticed,
Oh,
actually, you can just hand that down to Sue, I just redlined. The reference in Title V, I just checked for the test holes, it should be 102 and 103. Because 103 incorporates the other methods of determining seasonal high water table. So that would
Okay.
just cover us. I mean, it applies anyways because it's in the state code, but if you want to state it in the regs.
yeah, we should,
Yeah.
absolutely. Good catch.
Anything else, Billy?
Nope.
Do you
What
think
took
that?
you so long? These have been done
Yeah.
for 2 years.
No, but Is there any other one that you think that comes up very often, Billy, that we should think about?
Well, at this point, I don't want to confuse the
Yeah, that might
thing
be next
moving
round.
forward. That
Okay.
would be the next
I
round.
agree.
We're dealing with black and white
Yep,
in
okay,
front of
sounds
us
good.
now.
Man,
You
Yes.
may proceed.
I would like to make a motion that the Board of Health approve these changes, including the one that Bill just pointed out, the 15.103. And we put these regulations into play effective Monday.
All right, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote. Bobby,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Paul, aye as well. The motion passes and the regulations, as spelled out, will now be changed effective as of Monday.
So that's the 23rd.
Yes, it
Yep.
is. Yes, it is.
Thank you very much.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Still gets back.
Geez, I geared myself for some snide comments.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm happy, believe me.
I mean, we waited 2 years because
This has
we
been a
wanted to do
long-
it
We
in
wanted to do it the right
public
way.
hearing, yep.
And as it turns out, we really didn't even have to,
No,
you can reverse regs without posting a public hearing.
just keep
But
it
we
more.
wanted to make sure that the public and anybody who has any interest in this had an opportunity to speak their mind.
I gotta get it.
Run it through the dishwasher, I hope.
She's getting one big.
I forgot my water.
Buffaloes.
Okay.
Paul, did you have anything for yourself tonight?
Oh, this is another thing, kind of a food for thought thing, if we go through another
Okay,
little bit of a change.
yep,
I think I'd like to see a monolithic tank required, which is the tanks that they pour now, they pour the whole thing as a unit. In other words, there's no seam in the middle.
right, okay,
And it's a complete unit, and then they set the top on as a tied unit on the top. Just like they have done for years with the two-piece septic tank,
Mhm.
and they put a tar strip or the thick tar, and then they glue them together.
right, okay.
If you ever have any problem with septic tank, that's where it's always the problem.
It's the seam,
The
sure.
seam.
Yeah,
Same money. The monolithic tank is the same money as a two-piece tank. And if it leaks, which is above the inlet or outlet pipe, where they put the top on this tank,
yeah,
you got more problems. You know, down below where they put together seems to kind of be a leak point. And again, where it's the same money, everything's kind of the same.
really, the same money?
Yeah, same money.
That sounds crazy.
Does
to
it
me,
come in
but-
one piece though,
It comes in
Paul?
one piece and they set it right in,
So,
done.
if it's too big, sometimes you need two pieces to set it in.
I was just gonna ask you, the size limitation on that type
Yeah,
tank?
yeah,
Yeah, I would think,
Yeah.
yeah.
there is.
That's all.
But I mean, your residential
But up
stuff,
to a certain level, yeah.
your residential stuff, it's same money, same, pretty much everything's the same.
Mhm.
So the only seam that
Better
exists
seal.
on a monolithic tank is the cover?
Is the cover basically, and that's way above.
Right, that's
The water level
above
grades anyways.
inflow and outflow,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you did happen to get a leak there, now you're 2.5 more feet above that seam.
Mhm.
So it's got 2.5 feet of dirt more to go through.
Okay,
You know, that's not a bad idea.
Okay.
interesting,
The other
good to
thing
know.
is the amount of Title V's I've been doing lately. The D boxes, I'm replacing them left and right.
They don't seem to last.
Correct.
It's the covers, right?
No, it's the whole thing.
Really?
I'd kind of maybe like to see us go to a H20D box. Again, it's half the more money, but the only time you ever look at the D box is when you're selling or you have a problem, and then you find out the thing is all deteriorated.
And
So they make an H20D box?
Yeah, yep,
Has that been on the market for a
yeah,
while?
yeah. Again, it's
Well, you save a few
A
bucks.
driveway.
It's
yeah.
$25 or $30, I think, difference.
Wow.
But they have plastic ones too.
They have
now,
plastic
no?
ones too, yeah.
Which, do we allow those?
I don't think this,
Well,
We
the
don't
state
do
code
those.
allows them, we don't prohibit them, but no one uses them because you have to set them in.
They gotta be
cement.
set.
Oh, they
really
have to
early
be,
on.
they do have to be set in cement so they
Yeah.
don't float.
Oh, yeah, because they're gonna flex.
Yeah.
They
Or
can
float,
flex.
yeah.
I think I've
Okay.
seen one.
Is that right? Yeah.
Come up?
No, just one plastic D box, no one uses.
Oh, no kidding, yeah, yeah.
about 20 years is about what these D boxes are lasting.
Huh.
Yeah, they're even 10 or 15, they don't.
I might be on my third one that hasn't been replaced.
Plus you got pyrite in it.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I've done a couple the last few months here in the systems we happen to install,
Mhm.
Right.
and the D boxes were just no good.
Crumbling?
Yeah. Again, years ago, they used to put tanks and D boxes in regular leach field. Same concrete in the tank as the
Right.
D box. The D box would always be junk. The outlet cast in place baffle would always fall off the tank. The tank
Right.
itself would be fine.
Right.
God only knows why. The inlet would be fine. The outlet, the cast in place always falls
Yeah,
off.
that's a curious
That's the
science
boiling
question.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it really is.
Okay, which one of these gentlemen was here first, Bill?
So, quick question on the administrative end of the revised regs. How are we incorporating, are we gonna have new booklets, like, you know, the ones in the drawer are now obsolete?
You know what,
Probably,
this is,
we need to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was something we were
People are
gonna
gonna
talk
start asking me.
about. Probably initially will be just
online.
well, an addendum, a printed
Well, for now, I
addendum.
can
that we
hand
can-
out, I'll keep a stack of those in the office.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes
I will
sense.
try to get them online. At least these changes, I'll
Okay.
get them online.
Yeah, that's an old-
They're actually posted on the website now,
Oh, okay, good.
the
good.
board, under Board of Health.
Yeah, yeah, so leave those extra copies in the office, that way.
Right,
yeah,
you
Want
can
'em.
Right.
All right.
use them.
Okay, who
Good
was
info,
here
Paul,
first?
thank you.
Welcome.
I think Jim.
Jim was here with representing for Noria, correct?
That's correct. Let me grab the plan out real quick.
That is 343 Old Central Street.
And 139 Coolidge Road combined, yes.
Down by the-
And I had a tripod, but technical difficulties with it.
That's
so it's
all
just-
right, we can handle it.
I think so.
Or we could throw it right up on the desk here if you want.
But it was best for everybody. We're in the middle for everybody, okay?
Sure.
Yeah, both of them now.
Okay.
I always put those in now.
So, for everybody.
Actually, you know what? Put the chair on the table and that on the seat.
The chair on the table.
And that, just like you had it on the floor, it's just transfer it over to here,
Yep.
be more visible for the board.
Up here, up here?
You got it. Or even that works.
That works?
That works better than flat. On the flat, it's different.
No,
Yeah, you can explain it just like that.
So, basically Jim Bernardino with CMG Engineering. We are working for Noria, who's the tenant. They own, they rent out and operate the existing gas station that's on Coolidge Road. Also part of the development area is the residential home that is located on Old Central, has a old service or auto parts garage there as well. Combined parcel, just over 1 acre, okay? And the Noria is looking to redevelop the property. Now, as such, we took a look at septic because obviously we're a 1 acre property. And, you know, you guys probably have as much flex as the planning and zoning board is gonna have on this as well. For as far as regulatory standpoints from the septic system. So what's being proposed is raise and rebuild of the site. We're getting rid of the approximately
Wow.
2,200 square foot convenience store that's currently there. We're getting
Is
rid
that
of the
what-
residential home.
Is that the Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes.
Yes. So there's the Dunkin' Donuts in here. So what is being proposed is to replace all the infrastructure, buildings on the site, getting rid of the garages, getting rid of
Yep.
the blighted site and things of that nature. Proposing a 4,500 square foot convenience store, which will also have a Dunkin' Donuts in it as well.
All right,
So they'll still have it. And we're adding one MPD, which is a multi-product dispenser. So we're adding one gas pump as well. Now, when we look at the design flows that are historic on the site, the existing gas station was designed and approved a handful of years ago for 1,000 gallons a day, which is the minimum because we have that restaurant use in it. Adjacent is the single-family home, which had historic approvals for 330 gallons a day for 3 bedrooms. So when you combine those two, you're looking at about 1,330 gallons that is currently approved and allowed for this slightly larger than 1 acre site. Now what we've done is we took a look at some constraints that are there. As you can see this area right here, that's going to be a zone 2. So we're in a critical area for a well for 2 properties that both appear to be abandoned. But they do have documented public wells, and as such, we're located within their buffer zones, and we would be considered a nitrogen sensitive area. Doing the back calc as to how much flow can be generated and put into the ground as it relates to a nitrogen sensitive area, assuming that we do advanced nitrogen treatment, 550 gallons per acre, we're just over 600 gallons a day that's allowable by the Board of Health under the current Title V regulations. Obviously, the existing conditions are in excess of that, nearly double. So what we want to do is remove everything that's approximately just over 1,300 gallons a day and implement a new program, new septic system, and the like. Now,
That just had a system put in, correct?
yes, up
Yep.
in the front area over
Okay,
here,
yep.
maybe half dozen years ago, give or take.
Yep.
Now, Title V has regulations, you cannot expand or add, without being compliant with the regulations. Now, what's tripping us up is the nitrogen sensitive area. Now, we do have historic approved flows of 1,330 gallons for the site. However, even though we are increasing the square footage of the retail facility, adding a pump, we are also removing some of the existing flows that are there. So what we're looking to do, and asking for some feedback from the board, is the allowance to do that, to stay within the limitations of what's been historically approved on the site, and allow for the new development. So historically on the site, like I mentioned, just over 1,300 gallons, but using Title V protocol, we're estimating about, how many we got come up here? 685 gallons. But we also have the minimum for the restaurant use. So we're looking at a septic system of about 1,000 gallons a day. So we're looking at keeping the same flows for the design, actually a little bit less than what's currently been approved historically, with the understanding that we would, as being concerned and understanding of the regulations, we would actually incorporate a nitrogen, an advanced nitrogen removal system, such as a FAST system or something like that, to help address those concerns. Because currently there's no advanced technology on the site, that currently treats that level of flow. We're proposing to maintain a flow slightly less than what's existing.
Do you have town water there?
We do have town water,
That's what
that's
I
the
thought.
saving. So we're the only one, I believe, in Berlin that has town
I
water.
think, well, pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. So, with that in a nutshell, and rather than get into the finite points, we've been working with Bill as to gathering information and trying to find out what's practical, for this. And obviously, it all, comes down to what would be advisable from the board as to how we move forward. Because obviously, if we're not able to get the sewage flows as, as we anticipate them being developed, then obviously we wouldn't be able to have a program here.
So you're really looking at and I'm just summarizing the obvious, a total remake of that 1 acre parcel.
Correct.
Obliterating everything that's there, including the more recent septic system.
That's correct.
And starting from scratch with a blank slate.
Yep.
To try and make this all
Make
work.
this work, and as part of being understanding of the concerns and limitations, we would, enhance that with advanced technologies for the nitrogen removal.
With town water from Hudson.
With town water from Hudson.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. Very good.
Which allows the Dunkin' Donuts to operate.
So, and you're taking the house out, like you say, you're gonna make it, and it looks like you got a parking area there, and
Yep,
It's
and
planning.
basically, when you look at the existing conditions, I mean, it's definitely gonna be a much better, right now, we have a few pumps and 5 parking spaces. I've seen people parking here.
right. Well, they use it,
Yeah, I think everybody's aware, but, so
It's-
part of that
It's a kludgy
is,
site at best.
right, so,
yeah,
How many square feet is the existing store?
the existing store is 2,200 square feet. Let me just make sure I can give you the exact number, 2,289, just shy of 2,100.
So you're doubling that.
We're doubling that,
Yeah.
but we're also removing
a house.
a house.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
no, understood.
And, we're keeping the Dunkin's program that's in there right now.
And
There,
2 restrooms,
yes, there still would be restrooms.
you got 2 restrooms in them, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, everything, flip it up, back around.
Yeah.
What do you folks see happening at the very rear of the parcel where that house is now?
The rear of the house is right here right now.
Right.
That's where we're anticipating putting a new septic in.
Oh.
For the rear of the
Putting
property.
the
Right now,
septic back
that's, putting the septic, which is further away from the
Well,
wells and that.
Yeah.
Because the existing septic's in this area here, so we're gonna be
Okay.
moving it back
Yeah.
over 100 feet further away.
And that radius, you're saying there are 2 apparently abandoned homes toward the rear of the property on the other side of Old Central Street?
There is, no, on the other side of Old Central Street, I don't.
Yeah.
yeah,
they-
No, the wells that he's speaking of, are the professional building across the street.
Oh.
Yeah, they're actually.
Nothing toward the rear?
There's nothing towards the rear, and the residential homes are actually in Hudson.
Yeah.
So that they're gonna be
So
on water
they
and
have
sewer.
their
Right, so
water
we
and
took a
sewer.
look.
Okay.
And the only well that was in that neighborhood was to service that residential home, which would be
Oh, all right,
discontinued.
I misunderstood that, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the public wells are actually across the street on Coolidge and a little further down on the opposite.
Yeah, for the Gates Pond Shiro.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
the
yeah.
location of the septic as proposed isn't really an issue with any existing
Well, it's within the
residents.
IWPA of currently inactive public water supplies, but it's still respected unless they formally call them inactive.
Right.
No longer were considered public, but they are still
Right.
considered as such by
And-
the
and
city.
we have
To
it-
the
Not
rear,
used.
no, I'm talking to the rear,
Yeah.
not across the street.
Nope, to the rear of that property, I guess there's a
Exactly.
residential home across the street or a
Right.
private well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ways back,
Ways
it would be
back.
way
Right, 'cause you got
beyond
that
that
triangle where
100
the roads
foot.
come together and then the house.
Right, it's a weird
Mine,
configuration
yeah,
back there,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So basically, we would look to, hopefully get some favorable feedback from the board tonight so that, we could work within the confinements of, just call it within the existing flow that's been generated, that's on site, that's been designed for on site now. We're gonna be a little bit less than that, but if we say we work within those confinements, we, would have a viable project, obviously subject to soil testing and designs.
Have you done test hole? We've done, it's gravel down
Only
there,
out front, but obviously not to the
Not
rear,
back,
but it's probably
yeah.
in similar conditions, but we'll find out.
But the front would be taken completely out, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I would assume the existing structures would be decommissioned, The house system, the gas station system, the house well, all that would have to be decommissioned.
Right. Oh, the house too, yeah, right, that'll be
Yeah.
gone, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nice land there, I mean, a nice piece of property to put something.
As an aside question, what sort of timetable is, looked at from beginning to completion?
From when we put a shovel in the ground?
Yeah,
Okay.
shovel in the ground to turning on the pumps.
Shovel in the ground, turn on the pumps, you're talking 150.
I'm not that I'm gonna hold you.
120 to 150 days.
Yeah, right,
Really?
Yeah.
depends.
And it's 4,500 square feet. It's a small site compared to what some of these guys do. I've done many stations with Nuria, and they're not novices.
Money on the line makes it go fast.
Yeah, they're not novices. They
No,
Have you
no.
been to planning at all with this?
No, we have not.
Okay, and you've got more parking than exists now?
You have more parking than exists now. There's a handful of rules and regulations that we're gonna have to work with the zoning board on.
Sure.
We're actually in the process of drafting up some, requests for informal discussions, because if all goes well this evening, we would continue to move forward, but we obviously want feedback from the other boards and commissions as well, because everybody's gonna have a say, and why spend $50,000 to just backtrack and do
Sure.
something differently? So they're trying to take it a little bit slow and do things appropriately, so we're trying to get as much feedback
We
as
ripped the
possible.
Band-Aid off. What are we
Yeah,
looking,
what's the
what are we
formula,
looking
Bill?
at in terms of potential issues, Bill?
Well, the key here is the proposed increase in actual flow is less than the 330 gallons that's being removed by getting rid of the house. So they're working not only beneath, that existing
That
design
threshold,
flow,
yeah.
but
Right.
even though there's an actual increase, it's a net decrease.
Correct.
That's what I'm
Overall
saying,
site.
330, and what is it, what's the new one that they put in?
1,000.
1,000.
Because of the
$1,000.
numbers.
So
Yep.
we're dropping it and keeping it at 1,000, is what the idea?
I don't know what their design flow will be daily, but it would be at least 1,000.
It'd be
Done
1,000
uses,
gallons
yep.
a day.
About that, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so, yeah. And you
Because
get,
You're confident that it's gonna be under the 1330,
I'm
certainly?
confident it'll be under the 1330 when you look at,
At the two
all the guidelines that we have by,
Yeah.
yes.
okay.
And the actual flows are probably half of that.
Right.
Design
Yeah.
flows required by
Yeah.
the code.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I had asked, I don't know if Rob had a chance, but we're gonna take a look at water meter readings, just curious what the
I was
existing
able to
facility
get one the
uses.
other day.
Yep,
One. I believe they were around 600 and change a day
okay.
for the
Oh,
existing.
incoming water, all right, yeah,
for
water
in-
usage.
yeah, For water
Yep.
usage, for, not the residential, but from the other part, but.
But that's
understand-
Dunkin's direct.
That's Dunkin's,
Mostly
probably
Dunkin',
20% of that is going out
Yep,
the door in
yep,
coffee mugs.
yep.
So obviously, we do expect that 600 to bump up because of the added pump and a little
Yep.
bit more square footage, but I don't see it doubling to get to that 1,300 gallons a day number.
When you look at a project like this, this is a curiosity question, being with its proximity to 495 and being vacation, travel season, I would think that there's a higher usage in the summer than there might be in the winter. Does that, is that ever looked at?
For these types of uses, no. Generally, when you create what they call a service station or a
You
highway
look at a
stop,
mean, everything.
they
there's a certain-
actually, Title V actually says, oh, this is a travel plaza. Then you add more where it's a destination. You are on a major thoroughfare, 495 is, but it's not like you're on the Mass Pike.
It's not like you're
There's-
captive.
Right,
Right.
you're not finding people that are going from Boston to New York and only stopping once
One
in
exit.
between.
Gotcha,
So,
sure, yeah.
there's 50 options between Berlin and Lowell,
I
for
mean,
just-
they
sale.
can
just
choose to
curious,
go
yeah.
left or right
Yeah.
when they come off
Yeah.
the 495, so.
So, needless to say, there is considerations there, and they don't fall into that category. I would look at it as more of a transient, you know, that type of use would be more of a transient thoroughfare, which I don't think this would fall into that.
Okay. Bill,
So what are you looking for from the board
So,
tonight?
maybe, just to keep it simple, that, you know, we would be able to move forward with the design considerations that would fall within the confinements of the existing previously approved or below. You know, we may change something a little bit, square footage here, so my calculated 1,000 may come out to 1,050. But if you're open and willing to, if we can work within that confinements of 1,330 or less, you know, I think that would be amenable to the applicant. Bill, and obviously, any feedback that you think you would be comfortable with as well.
Right.
You know, by all means, we want to work together.
The understanding tonight is if we tell you, yeah, it looks good, proceed,
Yeah.
that's not an official okay on final plans or anything
No,
like
but
that.
subject.
It's for your next step.
But what we don't want to do is come in 6 months from now and say, oh, you're nitrogen sensitive, you can only have 600 gallons a day.
Gotcha.
That's what we want to avoid, because we're going to spend a lot of money between now and 6 months.
Sure, sure.
You know, and we just want to make sure that we have a comfort level. We know we're not going to get a building permit tonight.
Right.
We know there's more hurdles to
Yeah.
jump over, but we just want to introduce and get the first steps.
Any feedback from the board?
Well, it looks like a good plan. Billy, give us a formula on the system if you think you can get one in there, and I don't know.
Well, Rob and I have discussed, and
Yeah.
Jim's obviously aware of that important, you know, removal of the 330, if you will, to allow for the.
Right.
Sure,
600 square
which would
footage in
add
retail.
to the other one.
Because the other design had been treated as an upgrade, and in this
Right.
case, you know, they're offering treatment which wasn't part of the
Right.
existing system, which is a plus.
The fast.
Well, as chair, I guess I would say, and please, board members, if you differ, say so, but to me, it seems like what, the point you're at now is one that you can certainly move forward with, as far as talking to other boards. You know, it always comes down to the final, you know, plan and so forth. But in terms of proceeding with the project and the development of the project, I see no reason to say no to that.
You're getting rid of a garage and a house
Yep.
to add this, which I don't know, looks like a move forward.
Okay,
Planning board.
and we have to kind of move things along.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
No official, no official vote, just, you
No
know.
official vote, it's
good.
understandable,
But
there's
thanks
some
for
meeting
coming
minutes
to
that I'll
us.
be able to snag.
And it was
Yep.
very nice meeting you.
Yes, thank you very much, we greatly appreciate your feedback, and
Okay,
we'll probably see each other again someday soon.
probably.
See if we can buy the lot next.
I keep telling, buy that house right there.
Oh, there you go.
That's Hudson, and then we're in Sewell.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That was step
too.
one.
Nah, that was step one. There you go, kiddo.
Okay,
All right,
who's next?
Corey is up. Corey McKay.
Good evening. I should be fairly quick tonight. I don't have really a lot of,
Sorry, Troy.
Basically,
Yeah.
talk.
If you have a piece of property.
So my name is Corey McKay. I grew up on Walnut Street in Berlin. I'm purchasing 40 Highland Street. And I'm here tonight in hopes of getting a revision to the current building and septic size.
The building
The
that's
house
right
was
next to it.
constructed in 1963 by the Sears family, Steve Sears of Davy Ross Associates, who is the engineer for the septic design.
No.
Is that Highland Street?
the Commercial
Yeah,
building.
okay.
And it was constructed as a four-bedroom house, 3 bedrooms upstairs and 1 bedroom downstairs,
that's what we
living
were-
room. And for whatever reason, back
We
in
did.
63, the
that
septic
commercial
permit
building,
was
then
a
we
3-bedroom
did the
design.
hotel, but we
And
did
then the septic,
other
a new
commercial
septic
building.
was put in 74 when they sold for whatever reason, because there might have been a disposal or something, so it was put in over 2 years later, and then I purchased the house this year and failed Title V, so we put in a new septic system. And with the 4-bedroom house, we would like the septic size to represent the number of bedrooms that are in the house, so.
The existing septic size, excuse me for interrupting, is 3-bedroom.
Correct.
Correct.
This is the permit from 74 for that septic system. And the house is also assessed as a 4-bedroom as well.
Right.
So I
They
have
do
the
that to you.
field sheet, and then I have the layout of the house from basement to second floor, so.
And the other interesting piece of data is Steve Sears grew up in that house, and he always thought it was a 4-bedroom. And
Right.
he lived there, so, I mean,
Well, he knows.
it's data,
Yeah,
it's,
well, he's being taxed on, too. But,
That is
Billy, you got any issues with this?
Well, I'd like to take a look at the floor plan.
Yeah, the
Yes,
floor and
that's
the
right.
room count.
Well, that's like, apparently I lost a bathroom in Berlin, and I haven't found it yet, and I've been there 36 years.
Oh, no kidding.
wow.
Something wrong in your
Did
field
did
card?
Dave put up a wall when you weren't looking?
And Dave's got his own hidden away.
Yeah,
That's where he goes when you can't find him.
I know where he is. I know where he's out in Montana.
I
right
was
now.
gonna say, I know where he is too.
Mhm.
Good for you.
Taking
With
care
your
of my
trailer?
brother.
Oh, okay.
Okay, wanna take a peek?
Yes, please.
So there's a full bath in the basement and then a full bath on the second floor.
Now, any other finished space in the basement, or just a full bath?
There's a room that's off to the side there, but it's just like a temporary wall that's up there.
And, does it have a ejector pump, or does it go out gravity, the basement?
It's gravity.
Oh, good.
Really?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul. Gravity. Hopefully it'll stay gravity.
Yes,
So,
Steve will determine that.
You want to upgrade the system, right?
It needs a new
It
system.
needs a new system, it failed to
Yeah.
verify.
Well,
So you're just asking, is it a,
He wants to be
The
able
variance
to
to
kick it
let
up
us
to
kick
a
it up
4-bedroom septic.
any issues, Billy?
Based on Steve's,
Initial,
memory of the existing home and no additions have been made, and the room layout, it certainly appears to be a 4.
Okay. And the system you'd upgrade would be a 4 anyway, correct?
Right, it's really a Title V issue, 3 versus 4, so if the board accepts the existing house as an existing 4, then it can move forward as an upgrade.
what kind of material did you run into with the test pits?
Remember the perk, was it 7 or 9? It wasn't that slow, and I think water table was probably around 30 inches.
No?
Well,
I don't have a problem.
I don't have an issue.
I don't have an issue either.
So should we make a motion, or this is
No,
just a
we're
permit?
not-
This is
it's
a
not
permit,
official.
right?
Nope,
No.
you can let Steve know to move
Let
forward
Steve
with the
know
whole
to
plan.
move forward with the
Yeah, Steve
4-bedroom.
needs to know whether he's designing a 3 or a 4
Yeah,
first.
so you can let Steve know
Yeah.
to go ahead with a 4-bedroom design.
Correct.
And you'd also like to have a variance hearing scheduled for...
Correct.
That's right, you wanna expedite that.
Yep, Steve and I are working on that for June 7th. He's
So
working on
that-
getting the abutters information.
I
He's
can
working on
draft the hearing notice when I'm in town on Thursday.
Okay.
We already have Flat Penny coming in at 7:30, so this will be 7:45 on June 7th.
Okay.
It's all right with you, Billy, it's all right with me.
And do you have, or can I make a copy of that floor plan, or is that something we can...
I can email it to you, or
I
give
can
this to
burn
you.
one right now.
No,
You can actually just take this.
Oh, okay.
I have it on my computer.
all right,
What
good.
am I gonna do?
I also don't need the field sheet if you want that.
So,
I'll give it other permit.
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
All
No
right,
problem.
have a good night.
Yeah, no. Yeah, okay. Good. It's 49.
So. And
Oh,
Paul,
clock keeper, right?
I think I just have Billy's stuff.
that's a problem.
okay. So we're done with Highland Street.
Still got a few things to go.
I know.
Mm.
Oh, well, I'd like to bounce down to the bottom because I don't want it to get forgotten.
Okay,
I would like to make a motion that the Board of Health, shoot, I don't know, we need to vote to accept the select board's buy recycle policy. We
Okay,
need to back it up.
Okay,
So,
I'll make a motion.
go for it. Oh, you're seconding the
No,
motion.
second, or you making the motion?
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me.
all right, all in favor? Bobby,
All right,
Sue,
Aye.
Paul, aye. Motion passes unanimously in support of the buy recycled policy.
we can.
Just another step in maybe getting the grant.
Yes.
Keep trying.
Once we get that done, then we can
Good.
do the grant application again.
Thank you. Okay, next. 261 Pleasant Street, a well variance.
I didn't see the information on that yet, so we'll probably bump that to next meeting.
Okay.
I emailed the owner, but I hadn't seen anything.
All
Was
right.
that Steve Lynn's old place
It is,
with
yep.
the garage, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. How
Looks like a
about
good one.
19 South Street?
Yeah, we issued a letter there asking for a Title V inspection in 30 days, did not receive it. So now we send out a more formal letter by certified mail.
Okay. Berlin General Store.
Again, sent a reminder letter reminding them of their tobacco sales permit being expired and haven't received anything, so we'll send another reminder certified.
That's interesting, because I reminded him in person, I mean,
According to Joan Hamlet, if he doesn't respond, either they or we will require the products be removed until they renew.
Okay.
Okay.
don't know,
Send it.
should he have the necessary application or paperwork?
Mail to him with the letter.
It was, okay, all right.
Highland Ridge irrigation well.
Hmm.
Are we going out of order?
No, well, a little bit.
Sure.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. This is up at the project. Where's this gonna go, Bill?
This is kind of a blow-up area near the clubhouse. I don't know if you've been up there, but
Yeah.
this is kind of that.
Clubhouse is at the
The
far
far
end
end,
of the
yep.
lake.
That's a club right there?
So
Oh,
they're
yeah.
proposing an irrigation well here, septic leach areas are here, and the public water supply wells are
Way over there.
quite a few
Yeah.
hundred feet away.
I know the public water supply.
Well, the way that road goes down,
Somewhere,
yeah,
yeah.
It's down that way to the right.
I don't think I have that. I do have a
That's all
site
right,
plan that
that's
shows
all right.
that. So again, just run it before the board for any comment. I'm also gonna send it to DEP to make sure they don't have any questions.
It's non-potable, right,
Straightforward.
Billy?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's not near
it's
anything.
kind of right where,
Neighbors won't be happy.
it's kind of right where the irrigation comes out of there, so it's ground is like full.
Why won't the neighbors?
More water being sucked up.
Won't be that much.
Yeah, well, how come my well here?
Oh, you
So I don't know if you have any questions or,
know. My well. The garage.
Well,
I don't have an issue with it.
they're gonna be, you know, they put in cisterns for their other water. Are they doing that with this?
don't know, can find out.
Was that for the fire protection?
No, they have cistern for portable water.
Potable.
Potable water,
Okay,
concrete tanks. Nice
right.
flavor,
Right.
just saying.
Yeah.
Now, Donna, what did I skip over?
The permits, lot 788A Wilson,
Oh,
and
okay.
did 15 Crosby, did we do?
Yeah.
did
No,
I
we
miss
didn't
that?
do that either.
Oh.
We haven't done those two.
Okay, good, just,
But when I tried to post it, apparently the spaces disappeared.
yeah, that's okay. No, that's okay.
One is
Just
below.
wanna make sure.
That should be fine, that's Peggy's backyard.
What?
Septic tank
Yeah,
and bombs.
well, I was wondering what all that noise was across the yard.
Yeah. Any issue with that, Billy?
Where are we?
Bombs,
No, that is a septic tank replacement.
just a replacement,
through the
correct?
way Title V
Which will be better,
inspection that we had at a
upgrade.
Previous meeting.
Has that
What
been done?
address is that?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the address on that one?
15 cars?
15
Crosby.
Crosby.
Okay, so what are we doing? Just-
Septic tank permit.
Okay.
See, you start talking names, I go by your
I know,
dress.
I'm like,
sorry.
I don't know
I'm
what ball
sorry.
is.
Yeah, really, it's dress oriented here.
Yes, it
Okay.
is. I know it's at Peggy's backyard.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it is. Hey,
So what are we doing with the Highland Ridge?
Well, I'm gonna ask, what do you wanna know, Paul, if there's any type of cistern proposed, or if it's?
Yeah, I just, are they gonna be storing the water, or are they pumping it on demand?
Right, good idea.
Okay, thank you.
And I think it would be nice to know, once they drilled it, what the capacity is, gallons per minute.
And what they're gonna plan on pumping? Well, we don't know, right?
All right, I'll find that out.
Wilson Road, that's the two houses, that's Highland.
These are the last two.
It's,
Baum and,
that's Rhodes project.
Yeah.
We got Barry here, I don't know if he's got.
So that is, this is 7A.
In the back, Billy, or in the front?
Kind of in the middle towards the cul-de-sac. I don't know if this has the percentage.
It's 2 pages.
Yeah, the second page is the fast information.
Oh, okay.
I actually don't have the locust plan. There's probably one in the office that we
Yeah.
want to see
But it shows the road.
where that lays out.
Yeah.
You just say, hey Sue, would you bring up the locust plan, please?
Yeah.
Is there any issue with that, Billy?
Well, again, these are all part of the 40B project, we
Right.
mean Title V, the regulations listed that were needed to be varied were addressed within the comprehensive permit.
This is a fast one too?
That's
these
the
are 40,
list.
these are 40B?
The project's a
Yeah.
40B, but not every
They're all-
unit is.
Oh, wait a minute, Wilson Road, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I was in the wrong,
Right.
never mind.
Yeah, so this is off
Yeah.
of South Street.
Off
near the
South
school.
Street, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
And it's a fast system too, Billy, or no?
Every one of these is
Yeah.
to allow for the lot size, yeah.
Okay.
So we really don't have a whole lot to say.
No, it's a done deal.
FYI.
Yep, so that is.
Barry, anybody got a comment on Wilson Road lots?
On what?
Well, just voting on a lot for Rhodes thing there,
Not even
one of the
voting.
last ones. It's not just a permit. Yeah.
Might as well lay out what I-
Horses out of that barn.
Since we got both.
Yeah.
So this is 8A.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. So these are the last two, all the others haven't permitted. Again, same.
Wilkinson, the same in the back. Yep.
Yeah, those are all, yep.
Yep.
Again, that allows them to meet offset to septic system components, and they're maintaining a 50-foot offset to any exterior
Right.
property
I
line.
just hope they label all the lines correctly.
Yeah, right, yeah, there you go.
Well, the well guy asked me how we
Go
would
and
get
start
to these,
digging that
and
up.
they've created that access utility easement. So the lines are within the easement, but not necessarily following that,
Yeah.
neck of land.
The back-
You know, those lines just plastic?
Those, the
Yeah.
backhoe will know. No.
Yeah. So those
Yeah, okay.
permits once drafted, I will
Okay.
send to the board.
And that leaves Title V inspection reports. 3 Oak Street and 35 Lancaster Road.
Yep, those were both passes.
Okay. So. Is that Right, that's not the right
Slog our
time.
way through.
Yeah,
Down
we
to-
actually did it.
Just one, we had a complaint, 191 Lancaster Road, demo materials, garbage
Yeah, a little
bags,
mess
et
up,
cetera.
little mess up.
Got a call from a resident, did a site visit, it's obviously an issue, so we did send out the standard 30-day certified letter to clean up, so we'll see what type of response we get.
A little bit of a mess up there.
Yep. So you're from that neck of the woods.
Yeah, no.
Right by.
Yeah.
And that will bring us to the 1870 building.
Yes.
Ms. Peg Stone,
Yay!
come on a little closer. Not too close, but close.
Yeah, thanks, close enough, 6 feet. Whacking stick.
How you doing? Yeah, whacking stick away.
We've done our own rig, 6.5 feet.
All right, so, I reached out to the church to talk about this. Peter Wheeler said that he would be here, I don't know where he is or if he is
You got the bad one.
coming, what? Oh, I know I have the bad one. I got the cute one. Just to talk about next steps, I mean, I filled them in, obviously, this is an opportunity, as I explained to you earlier, we have potential ARPA money. So this has been something that has been kicked around for multiple years. So if we have an opportunity to bring somebody in to tell us what needs to happen with, the plan, this is something actually that came from, I'm thinking, Mr. Wheeler. Margaret sent you all this information
Yep.
today
Yep.
regarding, back in '01, to complete the Title V inspection certification, blah, blah, blah. Another letter back in '01 from Joni Bergen regarding it from Eloise. So obviously, 21 years later, we need to do something. So I am here for guidance on what we need to do and who we need to bring in. Obviously, it's not a done deal. I'll need to go to capital planning with a request to spend some of the ARPA money, but I can't go without explanations as to why, who we're gonna bring in, what we're gonna look at, what's the goal. Outcome, can't put an outcome because it could be for $20, you can do this, $30, you can do this, for $50, you can do both. I don't know.
For 25,000.
Or for 25,000, and that's just it, Paul. I mean, the costs
Right.
end up may be cost prohibitive if
Yeah,
whoever comes
it's-
in.
All that's an unknown at this point.
It's all an unknown. So the first part is to get somebody or somebody's in here to talk about what we're looking at, what we need to do, what are next steps, timing. So that is why I am here. I spoke with Mrs. Lindsay a while ago. She was also, this has been kicking around for multiple years. I know Franny Burke was
He was
helping
trying
her.
to glue this together.
Correct.
15, 18 years ago.
Yep, so, rest his soul, Franny, thank you, that I would like to try and get something, as I mentioned. The 1870 Town Hall is a money-making opportunity for the town, where if you can get septic fixed, then you can have opportunities for people to come in, rent it out. You could have functions where you could use kitchen, which might be a whole separate issue, but if we're looking at that, let's,
It's also about just cleaning up the center of town, because most of the houses on Woodward have replaced their septic systems and, up to code, and this has been just a dangling albatross that
correct.
has gotten swept under the rug too many times.
Yep, so I figure, why not, we'll be one of the.
If there's ARPA money, that's, we need to look at that for sure.
It is, I mean, currently Berlin has over $300,000 of ARPA money that we can spend, but there are obvious, very specific restrictions for the ARPA money, we just can't
Right.
willy-nilly. And it's anticipated that we'll get another 600,000, but that's subject to the state.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
the state
oh.
could say 300, you're done. They could say 500, you're done. They could say, here's the whole check,
Like a budget, let's use it.
you know, off you go. So, you know, I at least want to be able to first step and see what needs to be done. So that's why I'm here.
Well, an inspection has to be done of the existing leach pit, correct?
Well, I think that letter we wrote back in 2020 spells out, you know, what needs to be done.
Right.
You know, really, you need an engineer to work
Yeah.
on the project's behalf
Yep,
to determine what the existing flow capacity is for that existing leach pit. And, you know, start to look at the, you know, making that shared system compliant with Title V.
yep.
So it is calculating the flow capacity of
Well, you.
everybody involved, Billy?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
if there was any hope of using that existing system, we need to
Yeah.
at least know what that design
Right.
was. My guess is
or we upgrade it.
that
Yep.
existing system isn't gonna be adequate
No.
for what you'd like to do, so that's when, again, an engineer would be involved in looking at the lot sizes, look at the nitrogen loading, see what the maximum, you know, gallon per day flow that could be allowed. And again, that's gonna tell you if it's gonna work for you or not.
I just got this printed late this afternoon, so I
I
haven't gone
didn't,
through
yeah, I didn't get
everything,
to
but
going through it.
Yeah,
I believe the town hall will need a new
I
septic
remember, I
tank
remember what was
and,
there, I remember,
Yeah.
I think his father put it in. I can remember him digging it. but-
Yeah, well, that's just it, and I didn't print everything
It's all
that
right.
Margaret sent, but, you know, here's the,
I
It is,
did.
it is near the flagpole though.
well, and that's, yeah, I mean, so that's what I have, and then the letter from Roger Wheeler, the letter from
Yeah.
Joni Bergen, and then even Eloise got in on it for
Oh, there it is.
certificate of no
Okay.
appeal variance, and many, many others that I didn't
Jesus, further
print.
up than I thought, yeah.
Are those letters in Margaret's package?
No, yeah, there's the flagpole, it's pretty close.
I don't think I have
know
Joni
what
or
that one
Eloise's
was.
letter in my
Yeah.
I know
file.
what that one was.
I can flip through it, if
Or
not,
that
the
one.
copies of paper.
Yeah, I'm
And I
not-
didn't bring
I'm not
everything, though.
sure,
That's everything?
well, it's everything that Margaret sent
Okay.
me.
Yeah,
I haven't looked at every single page, so I don't know if there's, I think there is one, I think I did see something from Joni.
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
I believe that's there. I think that's pretty complete.
let's see what Eloise has.
Well, the Board of Selectmen's gonna have to engage an engineering firm.
it's not Board of Selectmen.
Select board.
Yeah, you,
No, 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 I'm not saying that, I am not, this is.
Just shoot me.
this is like a, you're spearheading this.
Correct, I'm spearheading
Right.
it, so it's really not the, eventually it will be a board decision on where to
Right.
spend the money, but,
What that might-
thanks. All the legwork and stuff I have agreed to take on and do, otherwise everyone agrees, hey, we should do something.
Yeah,
You, by yourself, are able to, I'm just
Mhm.
maybe a little bemused or confused here, that you can call up Ross and engage them in doing the research here?
I can't call him without going to capital planning and getting.
Okay, I guess that's what I'm trying to get at with the
Yes.
procedure. Somebody's gotta pull the trigger
Correct.
on being able to spend some money to get an engineering firm
That
in
is
here.
correct.
Okay.
So what needs to happen is that I'll need engineering firm names from you. I don't know how I decide which one to go, or if there's a preferred one that you use. There is a rather lengthy form from capital planning that needs to be completed, that I would help drive, that I would present before capital planning to say I need $25,000 for an engineering study, and at the end of the engineering study, our goal is to,
Okay.
and they say,
come up with
okay.
a couple systems first.
Yep, and they say, okay, so engineering person comes in, they do whatever magical things that they do, they come back with a report and say, option A, option B, option C, here's the cost. I don't know if an engineering study, having that would allow us to maybe go out and seek grants for that, kind of like you're doing with your stuff. I don't know. So that's why it is just a huge puzzle that I need to start putting the pieces together. And then after capital planning approves it, then I've got to go back to the board and say, capital planning approved, yada, yada, on this paperwork, and then they say,
Right.
okay.
I'm just, off the top of my head, say the town engages an engineering firm. They determine that the existing leach pit can only handle, let's say, just handle Faith's flow. I'm just making this up, all right?
Yep, absolutely.
But we need adequate land to accommodate a leach field of a certain size.
Yep,
And that's where I see it certainly starting to get complicated, because now you're talking a third party, the First Parish Church.
yep.
And I can't think my way through this in terms of how the engineers.
Yeah, right, yeah,
I know.
it'll be hard.
It'll have to be done methodically and just carefully, because everybody's gotta have a say and, you know.
But it could be buy or try system, you never know.
You never know,
Right.
and that's just it. So until we
Right.
know,
Yep.
you know,
Right.
it could be, we need land, it could be, here's a system, it could be,
Yeah, the engineer may say, we need this kind of land, and
Three
then the
separate.
next question is, where do we get it?
Yep.
You know, and
so that's when everybody
there's a
comes.
certain,
Right, that's when everybody comes back together to say,
Right.
here's your options on the table, which one do we wanna
But they're
pursue?
there, yeah.
Correct, you know, what are the liabilities, what is it gonna cost, you know, is it gonna cost money to First Parish Church, is it gonna cost money
Oh, yeah.
to the town of Berlin?
Yeah.
to
no, it's a
eliminate
good
that
thing.
little left turn onto Central Street to grab some land, and then the police are involved, and, you know, traffic safety, and, you know.
And that's just it, Paul, I mean, this thing could balloon, but,
Sounds
or,
like fun, Peg.
doesn't it? Well, hey.
No, the town owned the church till
Peg
18
doesn't
something.
like boring.
And then-
No.
Yeah,
They're trying
Peg
to
doesn't-
separate
well,
church and
again,
state.
it would, it benefits the center of town,
Oh,
it
it
benefits
u-
the
it
church,
needs to-
it
it needs to be done.
benefits everything, you know.
Absolutely needs to be done.
Also, the
The
neighbors,
church and everybody.
have no idea if there's a potential impact on the bullet house, you know, and the property's going that way.
I think the bullet house is okay, because Faith gave them, you know, before she sold, she gave them that's a new system up there, correct, Harry? So that system's pretty good for quite a
Right.
while.
So then we're looking
But
at
now you'll
the town hall this way.
Yes, to
Okay.
Jeanette's, or Faith's mother's, and, yeah,
Yeah.
that way. Yes. But Faith
Okay.
did take care of us on the bullet originally, you know what I mean, and they,
Okay.
yeah. No,
Alright.
but it's good to figure it out now, Peg, I agree.
Who's responsible for 1870? Is that a town?
It's a town
owned
building,
property? Okay.
1870 is a
Yeah.
town building.
So
Yep.
technically, selectmen are responsible.
Mhm.
Because I'm just thinking the parties involved, you get the homeowner, Lindsay, selectmen, and then the
Yeah.
church property. It's an
That's
interesting
right.
layout.
Yeah.
'Cause you get two parties using a system on a third-party land, so
Land,
it's-
right.
Yeah.
it's very unique.
Right, and that's why I was hoping that Peter would be here to kind of speak a little bit for
Right.
the church
Church.
on this, because I
Because
had
everybody has
reached,
to play ball, or it's
right,
not
because I had
happening?
reached out to them, and there were a few people who responded as, I don't know why the church needs to be involved, to which my response was,
Oh, it's gotta be upgraded.
well, you know, to
I
which
think-
my response
Find that letter
was,
from
this is,
1954.
right, you know, here's an opportunity for us to do something, I would rather include you in the beginning,
Yeah.
and then if it's a sandbox that you don't wanna play in, step out early, but I don't wanna start the process, and we're here to pull the trigger, and someone says, you
Right.
forgot. So I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm,
go back and go that way.
sure.
Anybody have any comments? Eric?
Well,
In 1959, the selectmen made an agreement with the church to place their septic disposal on church property. That was for a term of 20 years,
Oh,
which they could renew, but nobody ever
It
has.
has, right.
So for over 40 years, there's been no agreement under which it exists there.
well, I'm a 59 model, I'm 60.
And this could turn into a very embarrassing thing at some point if it were to be an issue. The church would like to see a new agreement that would be appropriate and better for all parties and has a variety of, you know, other things that the town and the church are involved in together. This might be part of it.
I would like to think that parties involved won't make this an issue. That, you know, there's a common good here. But personalities being what they are, you don't know.
Right,
Well,
and right now, I mean, the purpose of why I'm here is to talk about a plan for the septic. You know,
Okay.
if there is some
Okay.
type of agreement, to me, it's something totally different that other parties will need to enter into. I'm just focused on septic, what
Get her
can we,
done.
what do we gotta do, so.
And Bill, you don't have a list of engineers or
Oh, look
professionals.
at him.
But,
You know what?
Again,
We
as a
are
public
friendly
agency, we
in
cannot
certain
recommend,
ways.
but these are the 6 that do most of the work in the area.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And that's something that I'm gonna have to approach,
Yeah.
capital planning with, to say, hey, I've got a list, or maybe it's a Margaret question first. I've got a list, is there anybody on like a state bid list? You know, I don't know the protocol,
For a town building, right?
right, to go through and say, here's 6,
We did the library. We could get a.
I would ask Margaret,
yes.
Yeah.
start there. And then maybe you just have to make some phone calls and say, kind of, this is what we're doing, could you ballpark what it would cost for someone to look at this?
Well, and I have a feeling too, that as I start to go through the paperwork for capital planning, which I have not opened yet, which I've been purposely avoiding, there may be questions in that lovely Excel spreadsheet that I will have to ask and get. And it may be calling you up and going, Bill, I gotta fill out this paragraph, and I haven't a clue as to what I'm supposed to say, help me, because the last thing that I want to do is write something incomplete and have it come back and say, no, so.
Yeah, and
But you
if you
guys
need
are
more
my,
names, we've got one at the office that's probably, 60.
right, but
these are the
these
ones
are the
that
ones
work in the area,
that
they're
commonly
local.
work in
Yep.
town,
okay,
which, just speaking as a citizen, I would recommend staying with that list because they're already familiar with the way the town operates,
correct.
the rules and regulations. Some of them may do more business in town than others, and they may look kindly on us.
Yeah.
Don't know, you know.
The agreement that was originally made, I believe, provided for 800 square feet
Just to make a copy,
For
that's
a-
the one thing I don't have it right by.
For a system.
for a system.
Yeah, I think I saw that number somewhere.
Yeah, but when they actually got in there and dug it up, the nature of the soil was such, they decided a pit would be fine.
So they didn't need the
They
800.
didn't
So
need
they
the
didn't,
800 because of
need
the
to
nature
make the
of the
big
soil.
system, they just made the pit.
So they might be able to enlarge it there if they ever had to, right?
Well, that's a potential thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But since there's no existing agreement now, we gotta make a new agreement, and, you know, something that has to do with kind of codifying the status quo
Bringing everybody together.
might work very well.
Yep.
One of the things that's gonna come into this, Peg, is the use of the 1870 building, and Bill may have to do some research on this, he may know offhand, but a public building that, you know, it can house plays and
Yep,
concerts but it's not a daily thing.
correct.
So I'm not sure how that formula is derived in terms of flow, in terms of usage.
Yeah, I mean, that's a valid point. You could have a party with 200 people
Yeah.
in June.
But never-
And then the
Yeah.
building sits vacant
Couple-
until September.
Pilates, or whatever classes, yeah, you know, just
Yeah.
something basic.
But that's gonna be a key, ultimately, it's gonna be a key component of the size of the leach field.
It is, and unfortunately,
I mean, Faith is, you know, it's a 3-bedroom house or whatever it
Yeah.
is, and that has a number that stays with it, and that's simple.
yeah, and unfortunately, you know, because of COVID, well, and I'm sure we could probably go back and check at the records, you know, thank you, BC, before COVID,
Yeah.
and see what
That's a good way to put it.
a number of events were, because I don't think that it's a real fair gauge for the past 2 years. I
Oh,
mean,
not at all.
yeah, I mean, they have Pilates and they have a few exercises in
Zumba,
there.
they had a lot of stuff going on.
And that's
It's-
it,
it's
but
great.
before then,
Keep
it was
going.
always.
We had the holiday fairs, we had
The beer and wine
Wine,
tasting,
beer and wine
food
tasting,
Which is
fundraiser.
It's all,
Okay.
keeps the center going.
But much of that stuff doesn't begin to use what a residence does.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
And
it's less
so,
usually.
in
Which
general,
is good for the
residential
flow.
is heavier use than most of these public buildings are.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so I will start with our awesome TA. Definitely need to pick her brain before she
Yeah,
goes.
that's
Mhm.
So that's my first step, filling out um, capital planning is second step, and then going back to the board for approval of insert dollar amount here is
Right.
third step.
Kind of
And
an
then
average.
fourth step is, hey, Bill, so-and-so's coming. What are you doing on Tuesday? You know, because obviously I would need 1, 2, all of you to be there to help go
Mhm.
through the stack of paperwork
Yeah.
and what needs to be done.
It's
We're
always a
willing to help
process.
It is a process, but again, it's been kicking around for X amount of hundreds
Yep.
of years.
So if we can get it,
I mean, I gotta go
Like you
learn
said,
how
get
to
it
buy
codified,
a
get
container,
everybody-
mattress
get
container.
everybody involved and.
Okay.
I've never done that.
All right,
I'll
so,
help you.
I will talk to Margaret, I told the board that I was meeting you guys tonight. I'll just tell them I got numbers, here's the plan. Yeah, I don't expect this to be resolved by Friday at 2. It's gonna take a little bit longer.
There you
The
go.
only thing I would say, just word of caution, we're coming into the summer, so we
I know.
need to try and keep
Yeah, I'm going.
some amount of pressure on the gas pedal on this.
I will.
Because ARPA money, I don't know how long that's gonna
Right.
last.
We
you know.
actually have until 2026.
No kidding.
I
Really?
know,
But you gotta use it,
yes.
right?
What
But you gotta
planet are
use
we
it.
on?
But you gotta use it, right, so
Yeah.
we have some leeway with that, but again, as other people, commissions, departments
Right,
start hitting
using, yep.
that, all of a sudden this $300,000 now becomes 75,000, now
Yeah.
becomes $10,000, and
Yep.
we're screwed. So if I can get in the gate first
Like,
and, you know, get in front of everybody,
Open it up, yeah.
so be it. All righty.
Well,
Good
we
enough.
thank you for
Thanks,
visiting with
Well,
us.
it was my absolute pleasure. All right,
And
Go for it.
we are going to change our Board of Health regulations. You missed all of that.
No, she was here.
I was
Oh, you
here.
were here for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
beginning of it?
It's all just basic.
Okay.
It was too, and it was
Yeah, it was.
advertised.
Yeah, it was in there.
Oh, I didn't see it
It
on
was
this
in
one.
No,
the
it's all,
newspaper, on the
basic variances
website,
stuff.
everything.
Nothing new, just variances we give for upgrades.
Oh, no, I was talking about your bylaw.
Oh,
Yeah. But that's okay. That's actually okay. All right, see you at the garden
All
on
right.
Saturday.
oh, you got a plot down there?
Of course I got a plot down there. It's the
You
one
got
that's-
two, both ears, and both
I
one?
got one, it's the one that's dry and barren, that's mine.
That was
Thank
the
you.
one with Barry.
All right, and now it's Paul's turn. He's got stuff.
No,
in him.
no,
Who has stuff?
I got all
Oh,
his information.
he's delivering.
Last night.
Bills, et
Oh,
cetera.
so can we
No, he must have been. hard at work.
adjourn?
I think we're done.
Billy, you got anything coming up?
We're done with my list.
Yes.
No.
Was that?
Did you sign that permit for 15 Crosby?
Okay, all right.
Well, it's in a net stack.
Okay.
See you, Barry.
Yep.
Then I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Did you have a question? sir?
Aye.
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 This meeting is adjourned.
Right.
Sue, Bob, there are two